It's Mad Men Sports. Myself, Jake, back in the studio. Zach, your Buffalo Bills are 4-0. That hasn't happened since 2008. Zach, Bills went to Vegas. That's too loud. Turn it down.
They won, baby. They hit the jackpot. Bills in Vegas, 1-0, career, lifetime.
And next time is going to be 2-0. We're not losing in Vegas.
How do you do in Vegas, Jake? We've been there together.
Not good. Had a really good time at the Bellagio one night. Lost like $1,500 trip wise, but you know, I'm glad that someone can pull it out in Vegas, and that just happens to be the Buffalo Bills.
I lost a lot of money in Vegas, but
that's the point. Really,
the time before Vegas that I went to went there with you guys, I won a lot of money.
Yeah,
I paid for my trip. It was a good time.
Oh yeah, you won like what, $700-800 in like sitting down in a half an hour.
Yeah, Carissa lost me in this. we were in the Flamingo. I checked in the hotel. You know, woke up the next morning, had breakfast. I go, oh okay, I'll meet you in the room. You know, it was kind of like Chevy Chase. You ever seen Vegas Vacation? Mm-hmm. So it's like Chevy Chase. He's like, all right, I'm gonna walk around real quick. You know, I put $1 and I got a car. I put $1 in. You know, I sat down for blackjack for like 15 minutes, hit on every hand, wow. Got up and said, all right, $800. We went out that night, had a great time in Vegas. The rest is history. Had in and out. It was
not that good, apparently.
Awful, but I was drunk, so it didn't matter.
So let's talk about the Buffalo Bills. It was a shaky first half for the defense. Fantastic first half for the offense, which seems to be kind of the tune of this year. It's
very steady. For
the Bills defense, bend, don't break. And it's the offense having a fantastic first half, fizzling out in the third quarter, and bringing it back to the fourth quarter when the game gets a little closer. Zach, let's start with the first half. What were your opinions, offense, defense, with the first half of this game?
Let me start at the first quarter. First quarter, awesome. Gabe Davis wide open for a great, sure thing, no questions asked touchdown. I loved that play. Loved coming out and attacking right out the gate. I thought that was very important for Josh Allen. And I think that'll be very important for Josh Allen moving forward in general. I think it's important to keep him up, keep his confidence high, start games hot, keep him throwing. His first drive, I think he was 5 for 6, 70 yards and a touchdown. It's hard to capture that in a bottle every time. You're not going to get that every time. Every time you can get that, you capture it. Don't let it slip. It's one opportunity.
Mom spaghetti. Wow, that was good. I see Josh Allen, another game with 70% completion percentage, was 12 yards off of a 300-yard game, which personally
I'll take it.
I want to see every single week.
Sure.
But he's on pace for something crazy like 5,000 yards.
5,300 yards.
48 touchdowns.
That's a lot.
So even
I also don't think he plays week 17, so, you know, those numbers are paced weird. You know what I mean?
5,100 yards.
Yeah, exactly, right?
44 touchdowns? But that we haven't seen that out of a Bills quarterback ever.
Yeah.
But
it's rare to see that out of a quarterback, period. You know, with the 5,300-yard projection that he's currently on pace for, that would have been the leader last year in, the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
He currently has 15 touchdowns through the first 4 games. Only 2 quarterbacks have ever had more through the first 4 games. Russell Wilson this year, Peyton Manning the year he went to the Super Bowl with the Broncos.
Interesting. Which also is an interesting point, unrelated. It's interesting to see Devin Singletary only having 55 yards, but it seems like he had a much bigger contribution in this game than his kind of stat line.
He refuses to go backwards. I think they struggle in the run game. You know, the pass pro's looking good. Run protection's looking a little rough. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're missing Feliciano. I know they're constantly rotating the guards. Second half, they came out with Cody Ford and Quentin Spain. They started the game with Cody Ford on the left, and then Brian Winters on the right. That's important. They're constantly looking for the perfect fit. Williams, Dawkins, Morse. Those are the consistent factors. Those are the solid factors. Where these guards are kind of laying out and everything, it's fascinating to me that they have 4 startable guards on this team.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I mean, we're still not seeing Josh Allen being sacked 5-6 times a game, so it's still working now.
Even though we had a terrible one today?
Yeah, that was bad.
You know what? They've kept him upright. Now, if they can just figure out the run protection, find the holes, split the holes. Singletary can make people miss, which he's done very well of. Now, he hasn't had the flashiest yards. I know he's had a couple big yards towards the end of the game, but when I checked, he was at like 3.6 yards per carry at a certain point in the game.
He's 3.1 to end the game.
See, he did go back, you know what I mean? But like,
the stat line doesn't
if you get
tell.
3 yards on first down, okay, you're 2nd and 7. Do you need more out of him consistently? Sure, but also he's also avoiding tackles in the backfield. If you can clean that up, get him some space, let Motor eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially imagine him breaking those tackles at the second level with those linebackers, not 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. It's going to make a huge difference to when he's breaking those tackles because he's going to go for 12, 15-yard runs consistently. You just kind of have to get that blocking scheme kind of locked down.
Let Motor spin.
Exactly. Let's talk about the wide receivers as well. I mean, Stephon Diggs.
115, 6 catches. What more do you want?
Worth every penny.
Yeah, and you know what? This is one of those trades that right now, 4 weeks into it, everyone's winning right now. Justin Jefferson has like 386 yards for the Vikings. Stephon Diggs. But I think the Bills get more out of Diggs than the Vikings do out of Jefferson. Diggs right now, he's tied with DK Metcalf. You know, this is obviously before the Sunday Night Football game. I don't know if anyone's close in that game right now in receiving yards. I believe it's the Eagles and 49ers. They don't have quarterbacks in those teams.
No.
But he's tied for the league lead in receiving yards at 403 with DK Metcalf. If you would have told me that he comes in here and leads the league in wide receiving the first 4 weeks, hats off. That means this offense is working. That means he's cooking. He is a crucial part to this team. They have a 49-yard pass from him and Allen. That was crucial. And that's something that you've really seen out of Dable this year is even though they're up, they're not protecting the ball. They're not protecting the lead. You know, they're willing to kind of, chuck it, throw it around, play some schoolyard still. They want to keep the foot on the throttle, which is really nice comparatively to what we've seen the last 2 years. I mean, even Rick Dennison was doing that. The Bills' offensive coordinators, they've matured. They've trusted Allen to lead. So now Diggs is coming in, leading the league in receiving yards. I mean, the list just goes on and on. Cole Beasley made a great touchdown today.
He almost did a full flip. That was
Absolutely.
pretty crazy.
And John Brown should have had a touchdown today.
That should have definitely been a touchdown.
And then we looked at Gabriel Davis as the fourth guy there. He makes a big play there and to start the game off. We have 4 solid 4 horsemen here. That's probably going to be a 26 shirt in no time, but the 4 horsemen, Davis, Beasley, Brown, and Diggs. I love it. What do you think about it?
I think having John Brown as a number 1 wide receiver last year was adequate. You're obviously, and you're not going to see the same production out of Josh Allen numbers-wise with John Brown being your number 1. And we've said it all year, but Stephon Diggs just opens up the entire offense, allows John Brown, Cole Beasley, now Gabriel Davis, and even the tight ends room to have more catches. Because, I mean, with John Brown, who are you going to rely on? You're going to rely on Robert Foster at that point. You're going to rely on Isaiah McKenzie at that point. Just the pool of talent.
McKenzie had a big 4th down today.
Everything better with Stephon Diggs.
It's almost like the sum of the parts equal the whole, which, yeah, that's math. But the parts are also contributing at such a high rate right now. You almost have to wonder, does it always go like this? Like, does the motion always go forward with these wide receivers, quarterback? You know, everything's kind of clicking right now. They're another 30-point-plus yard game or touchdown game. How about this? Did you have breaking news?
Not breaking news, but Josh Allen completed a pass to 10 different receivers, tight ends, and running backs.
Hats off. That's spreading the ball. You know, spreading the wealth. Now, I mean, let's move on to tight ends, though. I mean, big week out of tight ends last week. I still feel like I have a little bit,
Left to be desired.
Yeah, not even like I don't know what I'm desiring out of Dawson Knox anymore. What is he?
2 catches, 16 yards. I think he had
a big drop.
Big drop.
I mean, again,
it's tough.
And when we didn't notice anything bad out of the tight end, tell me Tyler Kroft's stats if you don't mind. He had a good game.
He had 1 catch for 12 yards.
That was a big 12-yard gain right there.
That was in the beginning of the game.
Exactly. It was an important catch. And you know what? I didn't notice Dawson Knox not being there last week. I noticed him messing up this week. He gets those screen passes where he just drops it. I mean, they have play designs for him to eat. he doesn't do that. And he's a second-year player. I mean, but Tyler Kroft has outshined him to start the season.
Can we talk about Andre Roberts?
Yes.
To everyone who's like, well, we have a lot of good wide receivers on this team. It looks like Andre Roberts is on the outside looking in. He had one punt return. Obviously, the scouting report came back and said, do not kick it to this guy. Had one return for 38 yards at a pivotal point in the game when the Raiders were starting to make a comeback here. What do you think about Andre Roberts, and why should a Bills fan never wish for him to be cut again?
We sat here with Capaccio. We sat here with Perino. We went through the wide receivers all offseason. Through our list, the four of us combined, right? The four of us combined never have ever wrote off Andre Roberts.
You can't.
We understand how important that is. And he's working at an incredible pace right now. I mean, he is leading the league in average return yards. That's something that cannot be mimicked by an Isaiah McKenzie or Micah Hyde or Gabriel Davis. Like, this guy is a specialist. It's almost like back in the day when they had kickoff specialists. This guy is a kick return specialist. He's the best in the game right now per pound. Am I wrong there? He's probably pound per pound. He is the best returner right now. I'm having a hard time thinking of someone that's better than him. He's quality.
Maybe Cordell Patterson 3 years ago.
And right now it's not quantity,
barely,
but he's quality. And that's where, you flip the field on something. That was a big play. It led to, an important juncture of the game.
If I'm not mistaken, it was that fumble that was called back where he kind of flipped it. And
it went from them catching the ball at the 30. And then I just said, hey, get us back to the 50. He took us to the 45. That is a big move right there.
And let's talk about we're getting on a special team standard, but I think it's important. Court Bojorquez, 2 punts where you need to get inside the 20.
Just take a little bit off of it.
Into the end zone.
And you know what? I watched the game, obviously. Good commentary, Zach. So I was watching the game.
We actually don't watch Bills games here.
I watched the game. I saw it. They put up points. The team with the most points won, right?
No, actually. This week was different. Yeah.
I had to check the game settings. No, but listen, Bojorquez messed up that extra point. I mean, we were 1 point away for giving this ball away to
COVID-1984.
Yeah, the guy's name's COVID-1984, which I love.
Subpar name, but we would have given it to you still.
It lasts, It's not like the Patriots flub up, like, what was it when Twitter started?
Oh,
yeah, exactly, right? Exactly, but listen, the laces were inside on that PAT. You can't do that. Now, he's kicking touchbacks. He's messing up the extra points. Buddy, come on. Come on. I think he had a 67-yarder or
73
last week.
Just because you kick a 73-yarder.
What do you do for me now? You know what I mean? Stop trying to do a 73-yarder when we're on the 45 kicking it into the wind. We need to down them. And that's a huge difference. To pin them within the 10 or the 5 compared to the 25. I mean, that is the difference between, okay, I only need 40 yards to get a field goal, or damn, I need 60 yards to get. This is dumb commentary. It seems so simple. I'm talking about, wow, 20 yards is a big difference in the game of inches. But I'm talking about a punter that can't make that difference. And right now you need to make that difference because the defense is having a hard time struggling, finding their footing. You need, when the offense has to have the punt happen, which is very rare, to be fair. It's very rare to be fair that we need a punter to punt. But when that does happen, we need you to kind of ice it for the defense because they haven't been playing up to the level of the offense. And eventually when they do, whatever, we're talking about a punter, we're splitting hairs, you know what I mean?
I mean, the Bills are still 4-0. We certainly don't want this to be the Buffalo Bills.
But there are things that could be cleaned up that really would be just cherries on top at this point. And, I listened to the WGR post game with Shope and Bulldog, and, it was like 4 straight callers. I'm nitpicking. At what point are we going to be happy? You know what I mean? And we said that after the Redskins game the Washington game last year. You know what I mean? We watched it, and
we're going to get canceled.
We should be. No, but we watched the game, and we were they didn't really put them away, but they won. And at the time, they were I want to say 8-2 or 7-2, something along those lines. 7-3. Yeah. We were when are we going to be happy with this team? Genuinely, this year, I feel like I'm 4-0. I'm nothing but happy with this team, but I want to, bring it down to where could we really excel because we want to break through that wall.
Yeah, we would be doing a disservice. I know people technically listen, which it seems weird to me. I don't know why people listen, but we appreciate it. But I think we would be doing
nothing but hype.
I think we would be doing a disservice if we were just like, oh, the Buffalo Bills 4-0, we're the greatest team to ever step on the field.
Because we're not.
There are things that can be cleaned up, and we're not saying that these mistakes, these things that are going wrong with the Buffalo Bills are going to be a detriment to the season. But no, we want to kind of break through the stratosphere, as Zach was saying, and with these things cleaned up, we'll get there.
And the biggest point here is these aren't things that are like, wow, our quarterback sucks. It's, wow, you know what? If I could just get a little bit more out of Corey Bojorquez, this team really puts together a really nice game. Or, man, if this defense gets to where it was the last 2 years, with this offense being where it's at, who beats this team? And that's what I want to say right now is, if the defense gets back to it, because I think the first 4 weeks, the defense really gains their footing. No preseason. I think the second half of the game, they needed to play better, and they definitely showed up with the 3 forced fumbles, 4 if you want to call it the car, shovel pass, something. But they showed up. They came to play. Josh Norman stepped in, made a difference maker, I mean, I think they came to play in the second half, which is something I really thought, at halftime, my keynote was, I need this defense to really come up. They came up to a certain degree. They didn't bend. They didn't break. They bent. Now, if they can get to where the defense, we're talking about next level NFLing at that point. Can the Buffalo Bills do some next level NFLing? Bring the defense up to where you were. That's all anyone's asking for right now. We're not asking for this defense to do something we've never seen them do before. We just want them to do what, we know what they can do. You know what I mean? Yeah. We want them to do what they can do. You know what I mean?
And that's crazy, knowing the fact that we are basically still whole from last year, minus a Charles Clay. Wow. No.
Star Latulele. Charles Clay, Star Latulele. I see where it happened.
Jordan Phillips. That's who I was trying to get into. Lorenzo Alexander. Sorry.
Jordan Phillips also went to Arizona. I see where your brain is.
Still a little foggy. I breathe better.
Pneumonia boy.
Jake breathe. Still fog.
He was foggy before the pneumonia. Don't let him cop you out there. But listen, 100%. That's a really good point. I hate to pat myself on the back here, but we're not asking this defense to do something it's never done before. We know what we can get out of this defense. We know what we can get out of Leslie Frazier. We know what we can get out of Sean McDermott. We're just asking them to get there so this offense can really put everything together. And, what are we looking at with this offense and defense?
Unstoppable. The offense looks unstoppable.
You're putting up 30 points, and the defense does what it's done. Who beats you? Because we always look at the Chiefs, right? The Chiefs are the pinnacle of offensive excellence. Right now, all the efficiency stats are saying that Josh Allen is outplaying Patrick Mahomes. We're doing the classic knock on wood. That's plastic. This is wood. Now, anyways, but then we say, well, the Chiefs' defense isn't that good. Could you imagine if the Bills' offense and the Bills' defense put it together? What are we looking at? You know what I mean? Wow, that's next level NFLing right there. And that's all I'm asking. You know what I mean? Just do what you know you can do. Now, a rumor that I don't want to give too much merit to, but there are some out-of-towners that listen to the show, predominantly out-of-towners, because they can't get better quality podcasts out there, I guess.
There is no better podcast than that than sports.
Thank you for the not putting us down, because I just put my... Anyways, I think there's a rumor going around in the Buffalo medical area that Matt Milano, I don't want to say it out loud. I'm going to, though. Don't. We're not a source. We're just hearing things.
We could be a source. We should be a source. Why don't we
now
be
we
a
noticed
source?
We noticed AJ Klein in the most second half.
Be a sourcer, I'm going to say it.
Terrell Dotson. Don't source us.
Do source us. Source me.
Source if it's correct. Don't source us if it's not correct. Matt Milano might have a torn pec, which is not what I want.
Sourced by Madman Sports. You heard it here first.
But he's getting an MRI tomorrow. That I can confirm. But there's rumors that there is a torn pectoral on Matt Milano, which sucks.
Source us.
But it also makes him cheap next year. But hopefully he's healthy. Don't run with that, but...
Run with it.
As I sit here on Sunday at 10:46...
I was going to shit bricks if it was 12 o'clock.
This is the longest podcast ever. that he may have a torn pec from what we've been hearing. We is me. And
If that happens, I'm clipping this, and I'm going to say, source us, you fuck.
don't source us. I don't want to source an injury, for crying out loud. But yeah, torn pec.
Source something cooler then.
Not the best situation there. Hopefully it's nothing. That would be incredible.
You should just get cooler sources.
I mean, don't we get sourced for asking Apaccio, hey, is Sean McDermott or Brandon Bean getting a...
We better get like a royalty off of that.
Yeah, we want the pardon my take 1% off of Sean McDermott's.
Sean McDermott, come on the pod and give us 1%.
You owe us 1% because we spoke about it the next day you signed it. Or actually, it was 2 days later. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah, whatever.
The Bills played well. Final score, 30-23.
Josh Norman played very well. Other than that,
Who is your Madman? Jake Madman. Follow him at Madman Jake on Twitter.
Yeah, I made a Twitter.
Follow Richard Perks because I was looking at his tweets today. The fantasy perks.
The homie.
That guy hit on almost every sleeper he had.
And 4 for 4.
Yeah, I mean Gabriel Davis. There's a couple guys I can't say their last
Aguilar.
name. Yeah, he hit it. Yeah, that was a BS garbage time touchdown, but it counts in fantasy.
That's all that matters.
Check them out on Twitter. I forgot where I was going with that. They played well. Oh, who's the Madman Jake player of the game?
Oh, really? We're doing it, huh? The player of the game, in my opinion, Stephon Diggs. On the first drive alone, they went to him like 4 times, had 1 drop, ended the game with 6 catches for 115 yards.
Yep.
Just a game maker. I'm going to go with Stephon Diggs.
Right on.
Zach?
My player of the game. I don't think he gets enough credit. And I know a lot of people do give him credit, but I think this game, he really stood out to me. Everyone wants to talk about the Norman fumble, but who stopped Darren Waller at the line of scrimmage? Jordan Poyer stopped him in his tracks, held him up, and Norman came and popped it out. I think Jordan Poyer, unsung hero today.
He let up a touchdown, though.
We're joking. We don't do violence here.
I don't do violence.
Listen, I've been very critical of Jordan Poyer in the passing defense. I look at his advanced stats on PFR, Pro Football Reference,
it's
and
70% completion percentage.
it's 85%. It's bad. I've been critical. I was critical when they re-signed him, but you know what? He made a great play today. He's been making plays this first 4 weeks. Hopefully, he can keep it up. Hopefully, the Bills keep rolling.
Great in the run defense.
Absolutely. 4-0. Let's talk about this because we don't know.
Do we play a game next week?
I don't know. We don't know. What I don't know. We don't know what we don't know.
It'd be great to play a Titans team off 5 days of rest. They're playing Tuesday, right?
Nope.
Oh, they're not playing that game at all?
The Titans?
Yeah.
No. They postponed it.
Oh, until their bye week.
8, yeah. This is their bye week now.
Oh, shit. They got extra.
I want to say they play this game and I want to say that maybe they move it. They can't move it. They can't move this game because the following week the Bills play Thursday with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Vice versa, the Chiefs play tomorrow against the Patriots because of COVID. And then they play Sunday, and then they play in Buffalo on Thursday. That's a tough, it's the old-fashioned, the Bills play 3 games in 11 days, and then the Chiefs play, 3 games in 10 days. Is 1 day really a difference? I don't know. But it's one more day, you know what I mean? They moved the game today, and it worked out.
Could you imagine a Buffalo Bills team being 4-0, obviously, which they are, and a 2-2 Patriots team?
I think they'll lose on Monday. Without Cam Newton, I don't think they can keep
Brian Hoyer led.
Jared Stidham looking, man.
Who is that dude?
I don't know. He went to Auburn. He was pretty bad there.
Times have changed. Not all for the good, but the Buffalo Bills are 4-0. Thank you very much for listening and watching.
I just had an epiphany. Newton and Stidham went to Auburn.
Trash, obviously.
I don't think Newton's that bad.
Nah, he sucks. Thank you for listening to another episode of Mad Men Sports, the greatest Buffalo Bills podcast of all time, with your hosts, Jake and Zack. Follow us on Twitter. Give us a like and a subscribe. Shout out to Sammy Watkins, Marv Levy, and whoever that other guy is.
Earl of Bud.
No. This dude. Who is this dude?
Marv Levy.
That dude. Oh,
Jim
that does
Kelly.
not look like Jim Kelly from the
Jim
side.
Kelly. And then Earl of Bud.
Thank you so much for watching Mad Men Sports once more. Bye.